mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Hello, everybody. I'm hoping you can hear me. In about 2 seconds, you're going to see me. Hi. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Break Something News. I'm joined today by this guy. He's Spooky, El Spooky Zorro. The spooky ghost, the spooky fox, the ghostly fox, the weird, creepy dude over there named Rob Zamora. What's going on, man?
What's up, dude? That's a cool intro, man.
Does that take you? Are you old enough? Yeah, you're old enough to
Remember
recognize
MTV?
that.
Yes, yeah. When they actually played music videos, yes.
Yes, yes, that was a thing called MTV way back in the 1900s, folks. Sorry, that's a thing that I'm going to start to use. I heard someone say that the other day.
I heard that recently, dude, and it cracked me up. Yeah, the 1900s, man. That's
There's going to be a couple of things like that. I'm doing this whole other thing that's like a behind the music type thing because I'm feeling nostalgic, I guess. But anyway, hi, folks, and welcome to the Break Something News. I'm Break Something. This is Rob, or do you prefer to be called El Spooky Zorro?
Rob's good, man.
Rob, and you might have seen him in chats. Actually, pops up as Rob Z or Rob Zamora. Super avid toy collector. I think has great taste in toys, not just because we like some of the same things, but I was telling you right before we started, I like an eclectic collector, right? And I keep myself an eclectic collection just because we can. Ultimately, like, as you know, like there's these crazy like indie toys and stuff from overseas in a way that exists now and is accessible and is like the quality's up there that just didn't exist before.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if you could kind of share for folks a little bit of the sense of like what all interests you in terms of toy collecting? What do you have on your shelf and all that?
Definitely a lot of the indie toy stuff. That's kind of what I started with. It was a mix between G.I. Joe classifieds, and that was pure out of nostalgia. So I'm part of this vinyl community, like records.
Oh, okay.
And have this one friend who collects toys and vinyl. So his Instagram would be a mix of the records he would collect and the toys he would collect. And
this dude like as Trevor likes to say, an oil prince or
oil prince.
It's just that's a lot of money if you're doing vinyl and you're doing toys. Anyway, yeah, I'm kidding. But damn,
I did see a lot of comments on his page like, dude, what do you do for work? Because
right.
Vinyl's not cheap, and neither is collecting toys.
Yep.
Yeah, I never really paid attention to his toy collecting until one day he posted, I think it was like a preview for the Alley Vipers and Cobra officers that were coming out. And I was like, holy shit, dude, where did you get those? And he's like, they're not out yet, but Hasbro's making them. And dude, Alley Viper was one of my favorite G.I. Joe toys growing up. And I was like, nice. Dude, I get this. That just set off like a chain of like events of toy collecting, dude. But I was more into like just indie toys that were out. One of the first one that I collected was, I don't even see it, but it was that V-Toys Ninja. It's like they had like 3 different color ones, a red one, white, and black one. All that, and it just started going from there. Like I just started like searching hashtags on Instagram, like Ninja this, Ninja that, and see what would come up, and it just kind of went from there, man.
That makes sense because I've noticed that there was definitely like a strong Japanese and then some more and more Chinese influence on your shelf. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with growing up, and I was really big into like those old school ninja movies.
Shokasugi mean something to you? Yeah.
I wanted to be him when
Yeah.
Yes. It's funny. Me and have you ever watched New to Mythic with Greg?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We talked about that. Yeah. Sorry, dear. You'll probably hear my dog. She barks at the littlest things.
I'm assuming that's a fox, actually, but
no,
sure.
She's not very fox looking, but she's a little shit. But anyways, so yeah, ninjas. That was my thing growing up. Like, man, and until this day, like I think ninjas are pretty cool. So anything pretty ninja related, and it really has to be like ninja related. I don't want it to look somewhat like a ninja. It has to look like a ninja. But if I see anything like that, I'm all about it. And then articulation is really a big part of what I'm into. I know we're gonna say shit about Mythic Legions and all that. That's a whole different thing. We'll probably get into that later. But yeah, dude, yeah, it's crazy.
So that's pretty new, though. What you're saying right now, like, so Alley Viper, what year was that? That's just a couple years ago.
It was debuted mid-COVID.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I mean,
not as new as I thought. Then okay.
No, I think it was like maybe mid-COVID or pre-COVID when I saw it, but it was like mid-COVID when they actually started to come out. They weren't hitting the shelves anywhere in my Target or anywhere.
Right.
I had to like really go searching for them.
Yeah.
But that same guy who posted that post somehow had gotten them, and he sent me 3 of them, and just went on this crazy classified rabbit hole. Like went backwards, went forward, did that for like maybe like a year or 2 before I discovered Mythic Legions, and then I kind of just stopped with the classified and moved forward.
Legion started when-ish for you?
3.5 years ago now.
At that point, are you like, I'm gonna try and do complete, or are you just like picking, choosing?
No, it was the whole ninja hashtag thing. I was still looking into finding more ninja toys.
Okay, got it.
Jeremy's Kitsune, he did that custom. It popped up, and I was like, holy shit, that's a fucking cool looking toy. I had no idea about 4 Horsemen. Dude, this is going to be some weird, like, back and forth thing, Quentin Tarantino thing, because I'll tell you how it all comes together.
I love it.
I had no idea who Jeremy was. I just thought he was just a toy collector who customized toys. And I had reached out to him like, hey man, I really like this box. I really like ninjas. Told him the whole story. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, how much would you charge me if I bought all the parts that you need to make this custom? Not knowing, like, Jeremy Gerard. He's like,
right.
Well, you want the
at
head?
This time he's working for the studio by this time.
Totally. Yeah. But he gives me a price. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And he's also like, you have the figure that like you need for this? I'm like, yeah, I just got it from this website. I can send it to you. Just let me know what I need to do. Do I need to buy the parts from this one website called the Legion Shop? That's where he's sending all of those stuff. And he's like, no, don't worry about that. I can get that. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, I can go ahead and buy it right now. He's like, no, I got you. That's my shop. And I'm like, what?
Oh, I was going to say, I was wondering if he was going to reveal it or just kind
of.
Yeah,
he told me that. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I get it was a Legion Goblin Builder. Awesome. I get that from the website. I open it up just to make sure it is what it is. But I don't open it to like look at it. I just open it, tape it back up, send it off to Jeremy. Maybe within like 10, 12 days later, he tells me that he's done. He's going to send it back. Sent it back, and that's like my first time that I'm opening up a Mythic Legion, which wasn't a Mythic Legion because it was already customized, but I was like, this is a really cool figure. So I DM back and I'm like, hey man, great job, this is awesome, like I love this figure. And then I start talking about the figure itself, and he's like, yeah, Mythic Legions, you should check out this Facebook group called the Cabal. And I'm like, yeah, sure, totally. I check it out, and that's just kind of when Mythic Legion started. I started picking up left and right, and then I started putting one and one together, like, oh, because I see Jeremy's name all over the place. I started following him on YouTube. I'm just like, holy shit, hold on. And I started Googling his name. I'm like, oh shit, dude, he actually works for Four Horsemen. And then I just started thinking, like, oh man, I probably just bugged him, like, with not even knowing who he is. And he's probably busy. And some random guy's just like, why is this guy asking me to do this? And anyways, I have a friend who works for Sideshow. Okay. And he's a sculptor. His wife is a painter. Our daughters, they both went to this thing preschool. They're still friends now, best friends. And we hung out for maybe like 8 months before he told me what he does for a living. And all of a sudden, because he came over and he saw like my little small G.I. Joe collection, he's like, you like toys? And I'm like, yeah, dude, like I'm just starting out, but yeah, got these classifieds, they're pretty cool. And I showed him the kitsune, and he's like, oh, this is really cool. He's all, my friend who used to work with me at this other company. I'm all, what company do you work for? He's all, now I work for Sideshow. I'm like, Sideshow? And I'm like, wait a second, dude. We start talking. I'm like, no shit. And he's like, but yeah, I used to work for this company called Gentle Giant. I used to work with this guy. Yeah. He used to rent my condo out in LA. And I'm all, what's his name? And he's all, George. But he works in the East Coast now for this company that kind of makes high fantasy toys, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Dude, months go by. I'm not really thinking anything. And then I start getting more Mythic Legions, and he comes over and he's all like, this kind of looks like the stuff that my friend makes. And I'm like, what's your friend's name again? And he's all, George. I'm all, does he work in like East Coast, like New Jersey? And he's like, yeah, some small company. And I'm like, dude, I think George is this guy. We started putting like 2 and 2 together, and he's like, his last name is George Caspar. I'm like, no shit, dude. Does he work for Four Horsemen? And he's like, yes, that's the name of the company. I'm like, holy shit, dude. It just started going down from there, dude. And he started to introduce me to Court of the Dead. Because
this is all totally, you said Tarantino. It's totally Tarantino. Yeah. We're going to get there. Yeah, lovely.
If you like this Mythic Legion stuff, check out this stuff. And he gives me a book. It's a Court of the Dead book.
Yeah.
This one right here. And I start reading it. I'm like, dude, this is really fucking cool. And it is pretty Mythic Legion adjacent. And yeah, man, he just started hooking me up with all this Court of the Dead stuff. And then I just really got into that. Really got into Mythic Legions. And
yeah,
it just kind of fucking started going down from there. Dude, which I do have a extra book of that. If you want to do a giveaway today, man, I would love to give somebody
sure
interested in reading up on Court of the Dead, because I'm always trying to tell everybody about Court of the Dead now. If anybody's into Mythic Legions, like this is something people should check out, dude.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, yeah, we can totally do that. I'm sure I can figure out to set it up. If folks saw me doing something else, I'm totally doing last minute stuff anyways, all the time on the stream. Yeah. That would be great. I appreciate that, Rob. That would be really cool, because the Court of the Dead stuff, I think is just another world in this sort of like high fantasy stuff. But now we get all sorts of, we get all these cool little splinter areas of high fantasy, and I love the sort of darkness of it. Yeah. I'd love to share that. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, well, as you and folks know, and other folks know, actually, before that, sorry, Kitsune, El Spooky Zorro, to translate, right? We're talking Zorro's fox. It's not just a dude who does Z's here in California back in the day. But what's with the fox?
Okay. So when I try to explain this to people get kind of confused.
Okay. Story time. I love a good story. What you got?
Okay. So the name Spooky Zorro, Spooky Fox. I'm a huge X-File fan.
Got it.
Did you ever watch that show?
I did. Yes. Mulder.
His name was Fox Mulder, but his nickname was called Spooky Mulder because all the shit that he would do.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Fox Mulder. So I was pretty big on that. back in the day before like DVR and all that stuff,
Mhm.
you couldn't like just if you missed an episode, like that was it. Like you would have to wait like months before you would see the rerun or something. And so I'm gonna try to just make this story pretty short. There was this time I was hanging out with a friend. We were gonna go meet somebody. I'll tell you what we were gonna meet him about after off screen.
Okay.
But anyway, it took a while. It was on a Sunday. I was telling my buddy, I'm like, hey man, I got to get home because it's the season finale to a 3-part episode. I really want to watch it. And he's like, dude, I'll get you home. Don't worry about it. Just watching the time go by. All of a sudden, it's like gone. It's like we didn't get home, and I was pretty pissed. I didn't talk to him for like almost like 3 weeks because I was so mad. I was like, dude, I just don't know how it fucking ended. And he's just like, you're so weird with this like X-Files shit, dude. Like you're just like you're fucking like weird and spooky about it. You're like Spooky Rob, and I'm just like, so it just kind of stuck, dude. But in that, Zorro, Fox Mulder, Spooky Mulder, Fox. I love Fox. There's a lot of fox animals in my house. It's like my spirit animal.
Yeah. Okay.
But I also love Zorro. Growing up, when my parents were both working jobs, they would drop us off at my grandma's house, and she used to have one of those really old school TVs that had the 2 dials. It was black and white. You can only
back in the 1900s. Yeah.
Yes, back in the 1900s, and she probably did have it in the actual 1900s. But you would only get channels 2 to 13, maybe.
If you were in the Southern California area near LA, you could get 2, 4, 5, right? 7, 9, 11, 13. Yes.
But on Sunday, I don't remember the channel, but they would just have Zorro reruns, dude. And me and my brother just watched
Channel 5.
Probably.
Film Festival.
Totally. Something like that. It was that and Twilight Zone. But this was like before I knew about superheroes, like before I knew about Superman, Batman, any of that stuff. And next to Ninja, Zorro was like a big thing for me growing up, dude. Like I can't even think of how many times I was Zorro for Halloween.
Nice.
When I was younger. But as I got older, man, I could just kind of put like everything I love together. It's like a smorgasbord of things, like El Spooky Zorro, Spooky Fox Mulder, Zorro, like the actual Zorro, but Zorro meets Fox, and that's just how it all came together, dude.
Love it. And I love Zorro for a number of reasons, and the concept of Zorro. He's very ninja-like too, in many ways. I think, obviously he predates your Batman, your rich guy who dresses up in dark clothing and modeled after an animal. Right. Bats, by the way, are basically flying rats or foxes. So totally. That's at the DNA. I love it.
There's a new Zorro comic book that's coming out by Sean Murphy. He's one of the original artists for Batman. Okay. He did a Kickstarter, but like you should check it out because in his comic book, in his version, Zorro has a fox pet, which is kind of cool.
A fox pet?
Yeah, like a.
Is it true, or is it like these attempts? I've seen people try and do like sci-fi or whatever. Is it sort of still in period?
No, it's like now. Like
it's now.
It's like I don't know if it's like a post-apocalypse era, but like he's taking on like some kind of cartel that takes place in LA.
Nice. Okay.
A weird, like messed up LA or something.
I'm down for it. I grew up in LA, so if there's anybody who's going to pick up on that messed up LA joke, lay off. All right. On that note, let's say hello to the folks who are here, and I want to appreciate everybody who is here because we are going a couple hours before my normal 3:45 slot. So I appreciate folks still being able to check in on the live. I know I figured people will be like, oh, when's his show on? But we've got Brian Carr in the chat who's loving that Bushido Oni, which we will talk about. See, it's all Tarantino. It's all coming together. What's going on, man? We got TSJ saying hello to the West Coast bros. And also he wanted to shout out that he too was born in those 1900s. And so was I. As I was saying, we're so last century. I was just talking to my brother this morning about that, and I dropped that back in the 1900s, and here he is right there, and he's still there in LA. We love it, if you know that reference. Let's see who else is there. Speaking moistly. See, there you go. There's that Saudi prince reference. That's what it was. That oil prince, Saudi prince. Yeah. Lots of stuff happened in that part of the world today. Sorry to go there, but that's where my brain was this morning with my brother. Shokasugi and Solo Sinner knows what's up. Absolutely. Wait, was Ninja 3 the domination with the woman who gets
the Red Ninja? Yeah, I think that was that one. That was you know, it's kind of like a weird, like, I don't know, spin-off almost, but it was actually still a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was totally fun. And he played more of kind of a heroic character in that one. Yeah. Shokasugi, I love it. And my brother's probably laughing. That was him. Dude, when I was in the first grade, I was a Ghostbuster. 3 of my other friends were Ghostbusters. And for our little school's Halloween thing, we dressed up and did like a little Ghostbuster thing. And my cousin put on a sheet that looked like the ghost. Meanwhile, my brother, who was sort of helping with the event, was sort of essentially the DJ, I guess, without turntables. But he and his friend were both in he was a black ninja, I want to say, and his friend was a white ninja. So it all comes together. I
remember this one instance where one of my classmates was like, "You cannot be a ninja because you're not Japanese," and I'm like. And it just kind of trickled around. Like, it was like, "Yeah, you're not Japanese." And I was like, "But you guys never seen American Ninja with Michael Dudikoff?"
I was about to say. Yeah. And then somebody else said, "Dude, go to Gymkhana." Oz is saying hello. Oz is a big winner. He won some beautiful stuff this morning over with Curtis. Josh Brown, hello to you, sir. Great to see you as always. Ray, always wonderful to have you here. Hello. And I think that's it for the folks who were able to catch the earlier show for now. No, just kidding. Mirko Caldera, what's up? He's got that LA Comic-Con hat. My buddy just bought that Rhino at a show we went to an hour ago. Nice. Are you and yes, it's true, one of the best DJs is Swig. What was I going to say about that? Did you get the Red Rhino?
No.
Yeah.
I got this because I ordered that like V-Toys ordered the red and green one that 5K was selling during
the Asura demon one?
Asura, yes, the demon. Yeah. And they threw this in the box. So it was pretty cool. It's funny because I always have to explain what this is to people, and they're always like, "What's that little like squiggly thing?" I'm like, "I don't know, man."
I was gonna ask that too. I don't know what that is. Is it like the rhino snot, rhino blood, rhino
from his eye? I don't know what it is, but
it was the people in the factory. Whoa!
Yep.
Doing one of those as Ray says. Whoa! Yeah. And yes, not a new time, just a temporary shift for today. We had to do things a little bit earlier.
That's my fault because I have to go to work early today. I wasn't anticipating that, but Brick accommodated me, and I appreciate that.
I wasn't going to snitch, but no, it's all good.
My bad.
No, I want you to work. Sadly, people need to work too much these days, and it might be a rhino parasite coming out of his eye. And I'm so bad, party foul. This is not a toy stream, of course, without acknowledging that. Hey, what's up, Nolan? Yabba dabba doo. He is in the house. So, okay. And Ray has some life advice. Just kidding. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the show. Then we're like you're queuing stuff up. We're talking ninjas. We're talking foxes. We are talking Court of the Dead. I do want to pick up a little bit and talk a little bit more about your collection because there's some great stuff going on your IG that I think visualizes what I'm saying in terms of like eclectic tastes. I will say though, friend, there are some AWOCs that are missing on there, but
I wanted to wait catch up. Like because I have my buddy Brian is signing me one, and I appreciate you, Brian. Thank you. Gotcha. So I'm waiting till like I get because I don't want to just be like posting them like in a separate time, but I'm waiting till I get most of them. But man, yeah, I fucking loving these guys, dude. They're so
Love
Yeah,
it. We'll definitely talk that because I know you took advantage of that Black Friday deal, Black
big
Fur
time.
Day.
Yes, big time.
but yeah, as I was telling you right before this, there may be some similar deals coming for the new year. So we'll talk about that. But what did I want to say on the URL? That's sort of like zooming by. If you want to catch up and you're like watching in the replay, there will be links go there. There'll be a series of links so you can follow everything that we're looking at. And so please, if you go to other people's social media, follow them, like them, do all those things, because that's what this is all about. So I'm not the keeper of the news. Just like go check out some really cool stuff and engage with these creators, because that's really what 2024 collecting is. That's what it's like to be a collector in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So the future. Cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at some stuff. Oh yeah, and there's also like a QR code that's over there by Rob that you can use as well. And on that note, let's go ahead and take a look at some stuffs. What did we see this week or this month or whatever, because it's not truly news. It's just whatever we want to talk about. All right. Move us over here, and I want to look at your IG first and foremost, because hey, look, right, hey, that's him right there.
That's amazing.
I got a cool.
Hey man, I haven't been keeping up with my IG. Yeah, I love that.
In terms of posting,
Dave Orkin, because I gave him just the Fox Ghost, like, but he made it look all nice and pretty and with the font and everything.
Yeah, I love the type treatment. Totally captures the Spooky Fox. And are those wings or are those paws?
Those are his little arms.
Okay, that's
his little, yeah.
Cool. So here's just since you mentioned it, this is your haul of some of these books. So you're saying that
went every year, like I don't know what the deal is. I don't want to throw him out or like blast him what they do at Sideshow, but they just give them a bunch of swag that they can take home or something. And anytime they have like Court of the Dead stuff out, like he just grabs them and he hits me up. He's like, "Hey, dude, I got you some stuff." And he always just sends it my way, and I'm just like, God, like that book in the middle. I've been wanting to get that forever, but it's just so pricey on the aftermarket. It's not like super pricey, but it's just like, man, I could probably buy like a figure or two for that. And he just grabbed it. I'm like, yes, dude, because I've been wanting to read that for a while. It's a really good one.
So really quickly, you mentioned a giveaway for these here, the Grave Tales.
Yeah.
So it's a collection of their comics.
This one, yeah, I think these are all collection of their comics, but this one is like one big graphic novel. It's quite a lot of pages in here, maybe like 100 plus or something. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great. So we'll give that away later in the stream. So stick around. Thank you to Rob and his generosity. I will also acknowledge that I've got a couple of giveaways that I have not mailed out because I suck, but I will get them to you along with some little extra bits here and there to make up for my busyness and slowness. But honestly, this year could go away. But anyway, so what I really wanted to look at from some of your stuff is here. We can I'll circle back to the Court of the Dead because I want to focus on that awesome custom that you are now the proud owner of. But Blue-Eyed Samurai was one of my favorite things that has come out in terms of fiction and animation in the recent years. I love that show. And so these are custom pieces that you got and someone painted for you. Is that right? So this helps us understand the ninja thing. You are all in on ninja stuff and samurai stuff, I'm assuming. So tell us about the origins of this awesome piece.
Grab that really quick. So that head sculpt I got from I'm not even sure what his name is, but he's on Instagram, but he sells all his head sculpts through Etsy. And you can buy them. Do I have his name on there? I probably don't.
I was looking, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I'll get you that name if you're interested.
All good.
He sells just the blank head sculpts on there. And I bought a couple of those. It comes with the hat also. And then I reached out to my friend Corey. He's actually tagged in this comic because I think he does an amazing job paint-wise. And it's funny because I reached out to him. I'm like, hey man, is there any way you could paint these? I sent him a picture. He thought they were going to be kind of Mythic Legion size, like a bigger head sculpt. But he was telling people in one of his streams, he's like, yeah, so I got this, because he was showing it off, and he's like, and I opened up the box and they're like fucking small as hell, and I'm like, what the heck?
So these are like true 112 size?
Yeah, they're pretty small, more like SH Bigger Art size.
Yep.
But yeah, he did a fucking amazing job, sent them back, and then I just started working on it from there. And now I got it on this, those like Roman key blank bodies that were just released.
Yep.
Dude, I've been slacking on it, but it's kind of like right here.
Let me see. Hold on. We will solo layout. Oh, killer. Yeah. And you sort of show some of it in progress over there. So that's the Romanki body with what soft goods?
So the soft good is from the samurai that was on BBTS. I'm not sure what their name was, but I was scrolling their like sell page.
Got it. So you got it from another samurai figure.
Another samurai figure, took that off and just popped it on her, and it worked pretty well. And I still got a long ways to go. I procrastinate a lot when it comes to customs.
Well, I mean, yeah, I hear that. And real quickly, the Steam Powered Mum did paint those for you.
That's Corey. Yeah.
That's awesome. And other folks are feeling Blue-Eyed Samurai. Absolutely. Hey, there's Jason from Spiro. Jason, if you haven't met Rob, I think you probably met him at the show.
I think I talked to him on DM. Yeah. But let me throw it out there. If you guys love Blue-Eyed Samurai, you guys got to watch the behind the scenes on YouTube. It's crazy how they made that, because it's not just like animation, like they're drawing everything out or computer. Like they use like actual humans with the little 3D balls, and to
get the motion capture.
Yes, totally.
It's an interesting blend of sort of like 2D look. They're really, I mean, we've seen a lot of people trying to get that mix of 2D and 3D, but it's a beautiful show, I think. And I've shown it to people who are generally purists when it comes to animation, 2D purists and not into 3D, and they've appreciated it. Ray also loves the Blue-Eyed Samurai. Brian Carr wants to asks, excuse my tardiness, sir, but no, all good, man. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here earlier in the chat as well. And Ray wants to clarify, man, your art skills for that Court of the Dead comic is fantastic. No, we should clarify that Rob was not involved in those issues.
No,
creative too.
That would be awesome. Not me.
Corey is a wizard. Steam Powered Mum for sure. And
that's crazy with his paint jobs. Yeah.
So clearly Jason's into it. So Ray has some advice. Did you pick up the license for Blue-Eyed Samurai?
Yes, because nobody has it. I'm like, how has nobody done it yet? Or like, have we not heard somebody done? Like, is it just like in the works? Somebody needs to do it. Like, I mean, I feel like I should hurry up and finish my custom before it gets done, just to say that first. I feel by that time like it's already going to come out and it's going to be done better. But anyway, somebody needs to, they need a proper 112 scale of her, because just
Jason saying I'll check it out. Such a great show. Thanos agrees. I actually don't know what the status. Do you know what the status is? I know there is going to be a season 2.
They did announce a teaser, and it was just the title, like season 2 is coming next year. Yeah,
2025 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great show. Good. I love that. Like, I was talking to people about Blue-Eyed Samurai, and I just kind of went on, just sort of existed and didn't catch a whole lot of attention at first. And I'm glad that people are. I know that, I think Curtis ended up watching it and other folks, and people got really into it. I know Jesse was super into it as well. So,
I don't watch too many animation like series or movies all that much. But I watched one episode, maybe the day after it came out, and that was like a weekend night. Yeah. Dude, I just watched that in 2 nights, super tired the next day at work, but I just had to keep going. Like, watch the next episode, see what's going on. It's a great series.
And Jason said he'd love that. I'm just saying, Jason, you're doing Bushido. There's like an interesting coupling there, even if it's just say one character or a couple. I mean, I'd love a whole line, but it would be awesome to kind of. I don't know if Dan would be into that because there's a look and everything, but just something to consider. And we're talking Blue-Eyed Samurai, TSJ. So Terrence,
like even her apprentice, that the big fat guy that follows her around.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah, great character.
Yeah, that story arc. Anyway, love it, man. You're among friends with your ninja fascination. This thing is really cool, and the basket, the hat and everything turned out really well. That sculpt is really cool. Look at all the little. Can't wait to see how that turns out. Some other things. So here it is. I was going to show this sort of earlier. It's interesting, these soft goods too, with all the pleating. That is not an easy thing to do. As someone who has sewn in the past, that's a little bit more effort and work to get in there. So very cool.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to what that samurai was. I forget his name, but again,
like, so part of, I wanted to show this because like I said, I love eclectic collectors, and especially like folks like me. It sounds like you and I were kind of on the same tip of like, I was a collector back in the day as a kid, right? And I loved my toys. I love my nostalgic brands that like I grew up on way back in the 1900s. But in the 2000s, I'm more like, I'm kind of curious what else is out there. And as we've established, we're in this era of like all these new toy companies and all sorts of stuff coming overseas. With the internet, we get to hear about things a little bit differently than we did in the past, so we can actually access them. And so I'm looking at this, and this is like captures, like if everything you've got going on has that sort of spirit, right? Everything from your like, you've got the blank body there. That's that Roman cube, right?
Yeah.
Such a great toy. And then you've got like some MCU stuff by folks, and I don't think this is an overseas piece too, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. I think that's Muff Toys.
Yep.
Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's Muff Toys.
Yeah, companies name things like Muff Toys. Even this like chamber is
MS General.
Yes. Yeah. So you're like all over the place, and like we're of like minds in terms of like what captures our attention. And I'm a for science collector sometimes, where I'm just like, I want to check this out because I'm curious what it's like, and then I end up falling down dangerous rabbit holes. But like you've got all sorts of toys in here that like I'm intrigued by, but just haven't bitten myself. Like this is that
the 1,000 toys, yeah.
The something, what's it called? Something human?
Synthetic humans.
Synthetic humans. Anyways, there's all sorts of stuff. So I appreciate all this. This is that video game character, right?
Jesse made that. It's like, I'm sure he took some parts from some video game or something, but he made that, and it's like a character from one of the books that he's writing.
Love it.
He posted that maybe like a year and a half ago on his page, and I'm like, dude, I call dibs when you sell this. He was like, it's not happening. And then one day he reached out to me. He's like, you still interested? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah, you got to hit him up like right before a new figure drops, because I know. So anyways, sorry, Jesse, but that's Jesse here. Just shelve it, and shooting the shelf, and he does a show with.
Yeah, that's the figure with a lot of my favorite customizers, but. Yeah, that throne in the back with there's a novice, and then there's what she goes by is her name is Gluttony. That's one of those motto kits from MS General.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But that
is it like would you say like a complex kind of type of model kit, like an actual model kit versus?
Yeah, dude, it took me maybe like 4 days to put together.
Okay.
I had like gamer's thumb afterwards, just pushing it together. It was pretty crazy. Yeah. But I mean, the end product, it was so satisfying. I love it, dude. It's pretty awesome, and it's very articulated from motto kit. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart or anything.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. Anyways, yes, there's a lot of great stuff with the model kit. Blows me away, and you get to kind of see how things are put together, which I find fascinating. What about this chair?
That came with her. Yeah.
Got it. So the whole deal. Cool. So yeah, I love it. Frazetta girls here. There's some stuff, some black bodies here. There's some customs, legions.
There's a wolf girl right behind the dark wolf behind Frazetta. I don't know if you know what snail shell is.
The Noda? Oh, the snail shell. Yeah.
Snail shell, and then there's a snail shell over behind Jesse's figure, the two little wasp girls.
Yeah.
Early
all of
snail
those.
shell stuff, like, man, I'm all about, because they release some good stuff in the early days. Nowadays they're pretty good, but I feel like the quality is not as good as their first stuff.
Is that included? Did you get the pumpkin mech
I
recently?
did not. No. Yeah,
The quality on that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't have it. I handle it.
Man, I'm really trying to focus on, like, I should really just settle down and pick a few ones too.
I was gonna say, you can't, like, so part of this and part of what I'm showing here is that our type of collecting is the idea of focus. It's not exactly compatible. So yeah, it's hard, but still, that part of it is because there's just so much good stuff out there. There's Asura Demons. You end up getting both the red and the green. I have the red. I think it's a fantastic figure. A little bit on that smaller side, but as you can see here next to the Legion, see, this is what I love to do, man. My shelf is exactly like this. It's just like a hodgepodge of stuff that seems like you're focused on, like, more of a samurai thing as your root, and then you go around that. It seems like stuff that could, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, like, I got those guys because I got that 3-pack from Noda Toys, the Yamo envelope. Like,
the Yamo. The China stuff. Journey to the West, Wukong stuff.
Yeah. I was like, they would look perfect with that guy.
And I've said this before, part of it is because, like, we talk about Shokosugi. For us as kids growing up there, that was like new and mind-blowing, because it was like Rambo and like Predator, or whatever. It was like Commando, and that was cool. It was like the guns, action stuff, and we had the barbarian stuff. But for many of us, that was like a window to this whole other aesthetic and like fighting style, all that stuff, even though it's obviously a little bit fictionalized and Hollywoodish. Yeah. But it just it gave us access to a world, a fantasy world.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was just different. And so I'm with you on that. And then, of course, this is me, man. It's like, I've got the fantasy and the science fiction all kind of merged. So it's like Motu, but if Motu were open to a lot more things being worked in, or, New Gods or Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers was open to a lot of stuff. But this is cool. I love it. I appreciate your taste, I guess, is what I'm saying. And I love what you're doing. That brings us to things like Savage Crucible. And you've got are you intentionally curating these? So it's like, here's my like lizardy section. And
okay. So, God, I wonder if I could turn
including this guy.
Let me just
a little reaction gremlin.
So I have this one display case, right? And it's, when I get new stuff, that's how I kind of take my pictures. So that shelf that you're seeing right now is the top shelf of this.
Gotcha.
Bear with me, right? Let me see
good.
Okay. It's right there.
Love it. Okay, gotcha.
So that top shelf right there. Any new stuff that I get, I'll take a picture on that. You can kind of see that's where all the AWOC
and the lighting is all there. Yeah, we've got the AWOC, your big AWOC pickups from the Black Friday. Yeah. I'd say Black Friday plus for you, because you kind of I know you're searching out for all sorts of deals for.
Yeah, man, like that was such a great deal, and that was like the perfect time. If anybody was going to get into AWOC, they should have taken advantage of that, like, big time.
Put a pin in that, because there may be another opportunity soon for those. So
right here, that's when Savage Crucible started releasing all their stuff, and I just found a bunch of it, and took a picture on I call it the new toy shelf. Any new toy, then I'll take a picture.
Well, it's perfect because of the lighting, you've got your backdrop with the stickers and stuff.
Yeah. And then they find a home eventually, like after a week or two, I'll find like a permanent home for them.
So I also like, I know I'm also for like being able to focus on things, but I love a crowded shot like this where I can kind of zoom in, because you always end up having something else. What's going on here? Like another Ninja custom?
That
SN
is, custom? Let me grab it. That is the Roman Key Mel body one.
Yeah, which is a great body.
And
great pose on this Savage.
Off Goods was done by C. Jessam's wife.
Got
the nunchucks back there.
Keithlin. Yeah, I don't know what the truth is. When I say C. Jessam, I think of CJ and Keithlin, and then when I say CJ, I think so. I don't know what the deal is because she's like does a lot of the pattern work and stuff. So
well, yeah, I'm not sure if it was actually
like who was who?
Like C. Jessam. I forget his name.
CJ.
CJ. If he was the one who made it, but when I commissioned this, like I was talking straight to her, and
Keithlin,
I was like, hey, I want it on this body, and because they had ninja stuff on their website, but I didn't know if it was going to fit this buck. So I asked her, I'm like, hey, can you make this for me? And
she's super talented. Ray would love to see that again if you don't mind, if you have it in hand.
Yeah, his like
a little closer. Yeah.
His like ninja mask isn't on. I had to take it off for a second.
Yeah. No, it fits. Yeah. It fits well. It looks like it could even fit a slightly larger figure. Those Roman keys are like kind of an in between, like the 112 and like a Legions, right? They're a little bit in this weird in between.
Height wise, yeah, they're definitely bigger than Legions.
Okay.
They're just like a weird like scale, like but yeah, they're just the articulation of it is just crazy, man.
I know, and I actually like the design of the blank head too, with the haircut and stuff.
Yeah, and it's very well for customizers if you want to paint it up. I've seen some really crazy ones people have done.
As far as these savages, man, and he says thank you. Terrence is saying he may pick up some paranoids and wasn't as hot on them as they came out. Thanos wishes he had some more of the lizards. I only got Como. I ended up I was a Kickstarter backer, so I got a lot of wave 1, 2, and 3.
I didn't back it at all. I backed one of the second waves, the human guys. I wasn't about the lizard guys, but I won a lizard through a giveaway, got it, and I was like FOMO, like straight up hit, man. I was like, man, dude.
So and toy makers just give Rob a taste.
Yeah, and then got me. Yeah. But and then by like so I had gotten like the first wave just by like shopping around. By the second wave when they did that, like the not Kickstarter, but the all in, or like the sale, I was all about it. I went all in for the second wave, and then the third one, I think I'm gonna cherry pick those. I'm not too big. Like the Pronides look cool, but the lizards are cool. I'm anything that's like barbarian Conan-esque. I'm all about them. So that's why I went pretty heavy on the second wave.
Yeah.
And like, dude, these go fucking awesome with AWOC, man. Like
I love Savage Crucible. I struggled as I know Lawrence here at Punk with Toys. What's going on, man? Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well, man. I know you're dealing with a lot of BS with some BS copyright strikes, but he struggled too with the standing up, and we know that they're getting replacement feet. They're getting rid of the toe thing.
Can I show you something?
Yeah, did you get the replacement feet already?
No, I didn't, but
I got excited for a second. Premature.
Gridiron Studios.
Oh,
they make these stands, dude, and you can get like maybe a 20-pack for $14.
Mm-hmm.
They work wonders on these figures, dude. I have them all.
Okay, these. I'm better than because I'm seeing here that you're using the same stands I do, which are those NECA transparent circle ones.
That was prior to me getting these, dude, because I found a couple of these from like a while ago, and I had used it on one of these, and yeah, they work awesome, dude.
Cool. I'm gonna check those out because we'll talk about Gridiron. Look at you, man. You're just teeing everything up for today's stuff, which we should probably move on. See, look, Thanos is like, huh? Like, focus. What's that? That's a thing. Yeah, it's so hard, man, because there's just way too many great things. And so
yeah, I know they just talked about replacement feet recently.
Yeah,
for Kickstarter people first.
Yes. So like for the Kickstarter people, they're going to figure out a way to get that to us, and then I think they're going to be able to sell them as well. But yeah, and they need them. I've never been a big toe articulation person, but I think there are instances when pulled off well, they can be really great.
Exactly. It depends on the figure. Like these Roman key have them, and they work pretty well on these, especially if you're trying to like pose them when they're kneeling down or something. Like they work pretty good on like the Mayfex figures, but Honestly, I didn't have a problem with the Savage Crucible falling over. If you pose them like a certain way, like you get them good to go, they weren't too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can see what they were talking about.
I 100% struggled, and like, because I do try and get them in different things. Even on stands, there was just a weight distribution thing, and it wasn't just the toe thing for me. But whatever, we'll figure it out. That was their first, that was the first set of figures.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing, and I can't wait to see them develop. Real quick, ODSs, whatever the plural is.
I think that is one of the greatest figures to come out this year, and I'm not just saying it because Wade's my friend, but I fucking love ODS. He's just so much fun to play with, and
I think folks don't totally understand it when a lot of us are like, wow, these are really great figures. Especially, again, see my note earlier about Savage Crucible and sort of the first run at it. This is like the very first run at a figure that Wade's doing, and it turned out really, really well. I think he's being a toy fan, has been taking notes on all sorts of stuff, reviewing stuff all the time, and kind of knows what he wants and knows what he wants to do, and really thought about it for this one. The toe articulation on him is really good. I think he's going to continue to tweak, but I love the idea of the character. I think it's a smart way to kind of take a character and that can evolve and develop in all these different places and reemerge. So like all of this stuff works, right? Depending on what you're doing, like it works with the character. I'm sure he has his own vision, and that's kind of hard sometimes to let go of but at the same time, I think I know for a fact that he absolutely appreciates like folks just going off. And so I will say the AWOC thing, you probably know this, like the AWOC armors and stuff. That's what's on mine.
Yeah.
Fit really fairly well. That they're a little bit larger, but
on the skeletons
and stuff. No, on ODS.
Oh, really? Oh, no shit, dude. I'm gonna try that out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The shin guards work right over his legs too. Like those work, and here on the forearms, and
right on
everything. The body armor is a little bit on the looser side, but I have it like over a cloak, and it's beautiful.
There's that Jeremy Gerard kitsune right in the back, right to the right of Superman.
Right there.
Yeah,
that Jeremy Gerard guy. I heard that he does good customs.
Yeah, we were talking about one yesterday. And
speaking of, so did you not realize the Sir Gerard connection either when you're?
I did, but before then, like I wasn't super heavy into it. This was way later, and when I was just like, okay, red and black. Anything red and black, that color scheme, that's my thing, dude. And so Sir Gerard really stuck out when I saw him, but like his story, the way he looks, he's just badass, dude.
Yep.
And then
I mean, it's like design, dude. It's like, look at him, so cool. Is this your only test shot?
That is my only test shot. I got that from Michael Xavier. And he worked with me to make sure that I got it in hand, and nice. I appreciate him for that because my Sir Gerard collection feels complete with him. It's been like weird OCD, like it's not complete until I get this guy. But yeah,
he looks great in this sort of like all gray, all dark gray. You could pose him up like a statue, really, if you ever took him out of the box. I mean, they were never really truly boxed, right? But Ray is saying for ODS real quick, ODS is awesome. Wade knocked it out of the park for this reason. I agree with him. He also was smart to start small. Absolutely. Focus, grow it. And I'm really curious to see where it goes next. And he's built up that character for a while, right? So there's, and people have played with customs and ideas for it well before the figure came out. So I think it's super smart. Going back to Sean's comment here. What's up, Sean? Thanks for joining. Savage Crucible. He stopped on Savage Crucible when they wouldn't stand. I 100% hear that. And that's what Lawrence is saying too. Is like, yeah, those Savage Crucibles came crashing down due to those ankles. Again, not so much the toe articulation.
Don't let that stop you from picking them up, because moving forward, I think they've taken care of that. And you guys are going to be.
That's what I was going to say. Absolutely, 100%. That's what I was going to say. It was their first time out. Granted, and there were still opportunities for them because wave 2 and wave 3 from that first Kickstarter solicitation were like, yeah, those are being made after. So they had time to kind of work with the factory to troubleshoot. We know the sculpts are great, the painting's solid. So they'll figure it out. It's one of those things where, like, but hey, Thomas is here saying his won't stand no matter what the pose. I'll not confess. I'll just straight up say it. And I have the footage and where I kind of talk about it. But if anybody knows my channel, I film a lot of stuff and never actually edit and put it up. But same deal. I was so damn frustrated because, I do the turnarounds.
You just
wouldn't stand there longest. Like they'll start, fall again, fall. And I was like,
But dude, those stands that I told you, gridiron, I mean, they've been in that corner for I don't know how long now. And yeah, they're there still.
I hear you. And so I was using stands on the
I know a lot of people.
It's a weight distribution thing too.
Yeah, would rather not have their figures on stands or something.
Of course.
It is. I can overlook the falling over, and because besides that, they're great figures. They're nicely made, and
yeah, I'm the same way. And that's the thing, it's like we like different figures for different reasons. And like some of it's like, where am I going to get lizard people like that? Where am I going to get these characters are doing? And they look really great. The sculpt is great. Yes. Now I get the whole idea about posing. Some of us are doing different things with them. Some of us are displaying some photos. I just need to snap it and move on. So whatever, man. Real quick though, these customs that you've got going on, again, building out your world the way you want it in that sort of like samurai fantasy thing.
That's my guy right there that I wanted to, and I can't take full credit because I stole the idea, like the body idea from this guy, something punk on Instagram, like JV or RC Punk. I can't remember his name. And I asked him, I told him, I'm like, hey man, I'm going to steal this idea. I'm giving you the heads up right now. He's like, go for it. But yeah, like, this is one custom that I just really wanted to build as like my character from 4 Mythic Legions.
Yeah, and I see him a lot in your things, and we're gonna actually kind of come across him. He's looking cool, man. Where's that head from?
So it's from eBay, from a seller, and I was told in the Cabal, somebody pointed out that it's a stolen property from Wait, and I felt really bad. Because we were going back and forth. I'm like, hey, man, I just bought it, dude. Like, I didn't know. And he's like, no, I'm just telling you. But it started to eat away at me to the point that I researched who actually sculpted the head sculpt. And I DM'd them on Instagram. I'm like, hey, man, I bought this from eBay. Somebody told me it was from this. I just want you to know that I bought it from eBay and I'm using it for a custom. Like, I felt weird or something. And he's like, hey, man, looks great. Thank you for letting me know. And that was it.
Yeah. And it's, yes, 100%. And that's the way to go. And again, I love these. These are your Yao. I forget what it is. But yeah, the Noda sort of Sun Wukong.
I'm trying to figure out which is the coolest lit up little hand thing that they all have. Because they all have this hand.
So is that,
that's right above her, hanging. Mosfex symbiote is hanging right there. Upside down.
Trying to figure it out. What's with all the glowy hands? I don't know. The pink's kind of cool. The red's cool. And she's like, yeah, that one. Anyway, I love it, man. It's fun stuff. And again, this you've just got a cool eclectic collection. I'm all about it.
Thanks, dude.
That said, let's move on. This is the I think we were both at Legion's Con. It was awesome to meet you there. And I didn't realize I was hanging out with Emil Vickman, who made this on this show a couple weeks back, and he was showing it to me, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together that it was yours. He might have even said it, and it just didn't click. So you got to bring this Vickman piece home. Yes. How long ago did you work with him on that?
A year before Legion's Con.
Got it. So it's been a while. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like he asked me, like, hey, you want me to make it when I'm finished? You want me to ship it to you? And I'm like, no, I'll take it to Legion's Con. Let's show it off because, it needs to be shown off. Like that thing is incredible.
It's beautiful, and we've already talked through it with him here. So if you've been watching the show, you're familiar with this. Like, what I love about it is that he like works so hard to use Four Horsemen parts to make this, and he was kind of
exactly.
Yeah, he's breaking down all the different pieces from which different figures he's used, and you can kind of see them here. At the end of the day, there's a lot of great figure parts thrown into this, and she fits perfectly into your little world here of this.
And if you guys want to find out more about her, dude, like pick up this book right here, because this is all about Kier. Like, it's just a great story.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Her backstory, her story, everything. It's such a great story and a great figure.
Yeah, and we'll do a giveaway again for the Comic Compendium Court of the Dead. Let's see, what is it? We were about an hour in. Let's go a little bit more, and then we'll do that and get that out of the way. But appreciate it, man. Court of the Dead, awesome stuff. She looks great on your shelf. Are there other things that you're thinking about working with Emil on, or?
We already started on something. Yeah. Like when they had dropped that new figure obscura, the what is it? The Ghost of the
Christmas
Past.
Past? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When they showed the bare body, I was like, dude, I immediately DM'd Emil. I'm like, hey, I got this idea. You can do it. So yeah, it's already coming.
Love it.
And it's another Court of the Dead figure. I'll tell you this much. It's one of their newest character, and she's a samurai, and it's
okay.
Crazy. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we had the same moment, Josh, wondering as well. What's going on, Dorlax? And great to see you, man. Okay, let's talk other newsies. Oh, well, actually, no. I'm forgetting what all links I have set up, but here's stuff from Emil's table. It says 2020, but it's not. This was 2024, and there you can kind of see your piece there among the many gorgeous pieces that he did.
It's not the only piece I have from him. My first piece that I got from him was the Gambit that he did.
Okay.
And this was before he was selling any of his stuff, and I was talking him maybe for like a year and a half to sell it to me, and he just wasn't having it, dude. But finally, when he decided that he was just going to start selling these off, I was like, dude, I want that Gambit, dude. Like, Gambit's one of my favorite Marvel characters, next to like Punisher and Symbiote Spider-Man. But
how do you feel about his portrayal recently in an unstated, don't want to spoil, MCU piece?
What are we talking about?
I'll just spoil it.
The movie?
Gambit was in Deadpool.
Dude,
I'm just curious, as a Deadpool fan, I'm curious how you felt about it.
I thought he did all right, dude. It didn't bug me at all. Like, I knew he was going to be in it. I wanted to see what he did with it.
Yep.
I wasn't one of those like, dude, like fucking Channing Tatum. Are you kidding? Because I mean, like, he's been wanting to play that character forever. So good for him. I thought he did all right, dude.
I appreciate you, man. Let's keep it positive and just go with the flow. Yeah, because there's too many things to enjoy to be negative about nerddom as far as I'm concerned. And what's going on, Steph? Great to see you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What else did I end up putting in here? Okay. And there it is. This was his glamour shots that we've seen here again before, but these links will be down in that QR code and that URL that you're seeing scrolling across the bottom.
Do you have
fantastic
his customs? Any of his work?
Me, no.
Yeah.
I only own one. No, two now, but one custom Mythic Legions, and that's by Arthas.
Oh, dude, yeah. I got one of his head sculpt. Man, he does amazing stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could go in on a lot more for all this amazing, talented folks out there, but I can't. But
I hear you. My whole goal is to try to get a custom by every great customizer in the Cabal, and so far I've had quite a few. I'm trying to Pokemon people, catch them all.
Yeah, gotta catch them all. What's up, Carol? Hello. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, let's talk. Well, let's not. So I showed this before. Sorry, I'm forgetting what else I'll caught in here. But this is the work in progress, which is actually really cool. And he and I talked about it. I'll say this. Go check it out on the interview or the show that I did with him. It was awesome. He broke this down. So
I actually made an appointment with my friend who works at Sideshow. He's talking to the CEO of Sideshow, the guy who created Court of the Dead. We're going to be meeting up in like a couple weeks because he wants to actually see. Because I went there. I don't know if I told you this. I went there.
You mentioned it on a stream.
Yeah. And I showed them pictures and they were just like, oh man, like, what is this? And yeah, they all want to see it in person.
Tell them Infinite Legions. Tell them it says there's a thing called Infinite Legions that you all should.
Yeah.
So the rest of us can have a cool gear that we love too.
Been thinking about that.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. And yes,
dude.
So let's talk about this, dude. This is truly outrageous, is what this is. So back again in the 1900s. Sorry, it's going to get old, but guess what? We're old. This is Gem, right? So this is done by Blue D Sculptures. There it is. I've covered a little bit before because they did this really cool like Cavorti, where I forget her name from the What If series last year. Head sculpt and custom, but this is a gem.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. I see it.
Yeah. So this is a gem thing, and then it's available now. So this is one of those rare instances where I'm actually providing something that's timely. But Blue D Sculptures, there is the link that Thanos will share here during the live, and it's in the links down below. To their Patreon, it's like a $35 for a month, and you get like 5 sculpts. This is currently the one that's there for December 2024. I was really into Gem, actually, of all the many things. It was kind of part of this Marvel animated series that was happening at the time. Like Marvel got involved with an animation house to kind of develop unique characters as well as like slot in. That's when their Pride of the X-Men sort of was slotted in at one time in that group. It was like this, Inhumanoids. I'm forgetting what else. But anyway, Gem was like, it was totally like are you familiar? You're familiar?
Yeah, big time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So then we don't need to explain it, but it's quirky. And so this is the kind of thing where I'd get like this head sculpt and probably give her some cool like Mythic Legions like armor or some Cosmic Legions thing and have a representation of Gem on my shelf. So
new FO body would work great with this. And if people don't know Gem in the holograms, she in a band, and there's a rival band, and they used to do, I don't know, like what superhero things when she would click on her earrings, and then
she had holograms and power of light. Yeah,
her alter ego. Yeah.
She had an AI Synergy who would make the whole thing happen. But anyway, it's just one of those weird things. Like, we talked about being eclectic, like that. That's my shelf, and like I'm still nostalgic for some of that old stuff. But finding ways to, find that way to kind of bring it in and represent it in maybe my own new and unique way, or like some company's new and unique way. I'm all about it. So, so that's Blue D Sculptures. I know Terrence was asking this earlier, and he kind of said, never mind, because at one point he thought that this figure had sold out, and he figured it out. Yeah, if you go to, so this was just announced this week, or revealed, I guess, and then they announced when the pre-order would be, which is not till the 11th. But they have it on their site as sort of being available, and it's like listed as sold out, but only because they haven't started selling it. It's a little confusing to folks, I know. But Vampirella was one of those characters, one of the many characters that Frank Frazetta did during his lifetime that he illustrated a bunch of times, and you can kind of see his stuff here. But first off, shout out again to Trevor, 1/6 Shooter, who shoots a lot of great toys, including Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, Mythic Legions, Figure Obscura, Cosmic Legions, Brutal Realm, and on and on and on, and Frazetta Girls, obviously. But you can kind of see it comes with this really cool like display piece that I love, because if you know anything about the Frazetta Girls, it's the grandkids of Frank Frazetta, and them sort of honoring both their grandmother and Frank in this piece. You can kind of see there with their actual birthdays and dates of death.
That's pretty cool, man. I didn't notice that before. Wow.
Yeah. And I think, you know, it's built on something similar to what's going on with Tigra, with obviously like new sculpts and new pieces, and you know,
When you go back to that other, can she put those head sculpts on the skull ones?
not that I know of, but you know what? I don't. They don't show it, but who knows if they have a ball joint? Good point. I don't know. But amazing if you could actually put the hair on top of them as well.
Totally, dude. That's what I was thinking.
We don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know if that's something they would consider. But here's the art, and you know, I've always loved the way that Frank Frazetta did women in general, and kind of like embrace the female form, and always really looking at like all the curves and everything. I will say that there was something unique about the way he did her face as well, that I'll say that I kind of did wish they reflected a little bit more in the sculpt, but I feel like this head sculpt does kind of give you something more of what you would see Vampirella, the way that they'd render her back in the day too.
Can I tell you a really quick weird story? Yeah. So back in like maybe early 2000s, my buddy and I DJ'd for God, I can't remember what his name was. McG. Do you know who that is?
I do know McG. The film director who was music videos and then did Charlie's Angels and a couple of other things.
He had a house party in the Hollywood Hills. We DJ'd for him. He was supposed to pay us after we were done. We couldn't find him, but we saw one of his partners were just like trying to get the money. So basically, we didn't get the money, but they wanted to pay us in Frazetta paintings that they had on the walls. And my buddy was not having it. He's like, what am I going to do with this, man? Like, I'm not into this bullshit. And I was just sitting, I was like, dude, we can get so much more money. Just take it. Just take it. But he didn't take it. So we left because he didn't really care for that. But yeah, they're taking the paintings off the one. We're like, we'll give you this one, and you guys should be good. And he's like, what am I going to do with this, dude?
So because you kind of got muffled a little. He didn't take it.
Didn't take it. No. Because he wanted the money more, because he didn't understand that Frazetta paintings would have been worth a lot of money or something.
Sure.
Yeah, it sucks.
So he did get cash instead?
A week later, after going back and forth with him, yeah, they eventually settled on something. But yeah, not the paintings, which kind of sucks because, man, till this day,
yeah, that's painful. Do you know what they were? Do you happen to remember?
No, I just know because I remember, because like I was where the DJ booth was set up, it was behind or in front of a huge bookshelf, and I kept looking around while my buddy was taking turns while he was on the decks, and I just kept looking at everything, and it was just like a collection of Frazetta books, and yeah, it was crazy, dude.
Oh my God, right there, and the books are there to signal like, hey man, this is actually kind of something.
Yeah, like he had a pretty crazy collection of that kind of stuff.
Thanos would have known what's up. He would have taken the paintings and then not sold them. That's wild. But Steph's shouting out Trevor's photos. Agreed, 100%. And she has an old Vampirella in a box that comes with dial pieces, and so looking to update and add a new Vampirella to her collection. I am too. This is definitely one of I kind of cooled a little bit after Dark Wolf on the Frazetta Girl stuff, not because I didn't like them, but like Tigra, yeah, I probably should have gotten Tigra. The Norsemen, I really wasn't so into like their interpretation from the paintings of the Norsemen, but this one I'm gonna get this Frazetta Girls thing. I think it's rad.
I only have the Dark Wolf. He's pretty cool, but I don't know, man. There's something about it that just kind of threw me off.
Is it the movement?
Kind of. I don't want
the articulation.
Yeah.
No, I get you. It's the knees. It's always the knees. But also my leg is a little bit loose. I don't know. I know that's a thing. But again, maybe I get it. People will say, no, you're too positive or you're too open. But like, you know.
I mean, like they're doing that new Conan figure or something that apparently is going to be, the articulation is supposed to be a lot better than. Yep.
New Conan figure, you say? See, look at man, you're just like teeing up everything. You should do this regularly. Yeah. So Eamon O'Donoghue, who does the who basically leads the line and runs the art direction, and I'm assuming does more than that in terms of the figures for Icon Collectibles / Frazetta Girls, is also working with other Frazetta licensors. I'm assuming. I don't know how that all worked, but so. There is a version of Conan based on this comic, Battle of the Blackstone, or this story based on Roberto de la Torre's artwork. And this is actually Roberto's post. So they kind of took the art direction from that, are creating this really great looking Conan. I'm genuinely confused because there were two Conans, this one and then another one that was shown off at SDCC that was more like traditional Frazetta. Do you have? I don't have it queued up, but this one's cool. I think visually, I will say that there is something about this one that maybe similar. I don't know, like, you're kind of like, I could tell you're not wanting to talk about the Dark Wolf in a particular way. Like for me, there's something about this that isn't hitting me yet. Maybe it's similar to what you're like.
I mean, he did say that there's, he pointed out you're not going to see it in the picture because it's just like a mock-up figure, but he did say that the articulation is going to be different that you don't see in the picture. But I mean, you can even tell by the knees, like
these are double.
Yeah,
like there's that cut looking under here, and again, these are just prototypes. These aren't necessarily like, these are probably just paint masters that are just printed and glued with articulation sort of hinted at. I don't know. And for me, it actually wasn't the articulation. For me, two things. I think he's going to be kind of big. They keep talking about him as a 7-inch figure, so I wonder what that's going to be like. I'm also very much in love with my Mezco King Conan and the look of that.
Yeah, man.
I think for me, it might be that it's going for more of a very, it looks like an illustration, which is awesome. And I have other toys like that. It's between that and then the mix of like the hyper detailed musculature and like all the rips on every shirt, that for me, it's an aesthetic thing. I don't know. It's a silly reason. That said, when it drops on the 11th, or no, this is different. Sorry, that's separate. Whenever this drops, because you can join the wait list now, will I actually end up buying or not? I don't know. We'll see. But man, between my Vicron, between my Conan, Mezco, like I feel like there's between Super 7 ones, I'm not sure how much more room and alternate versions of Conan I need, but
I mean, that's the only Conan I have, and that was my first Mezco ever.
Was it the King or the first one?
No, the King.
Or first two, King Conan. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's just amazing. And
yeah.
I mean,
this guy has been really talking about that comic series and saying how great the story was. Other folks are super, super into the look. And yeah, I think it's a great looking figure. And if the articulation's there, I'm sure it's even going to be like the movement might even match what they end up designing. Yep, Sean's pointing out the double jointed knees. Terrence is going back to that Frazetta stuff and just saying the figures to me aren't a huge leap beyond anything 4H does, 4 Horsemen does, and the figures are almost 50% more, talking about Frank Frazetta, the Frazetta Girl stuff or the Icon Collectible stuff. Tigra was off gassing for him. Man, why you gotta bust out Tigra like that? And she,
I mean, I think it was the price point also.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's saying. They're pricey. Yeah,
it was very pricey for. I mean, it's cool.
I hear you. But I mean, I think it's really cool. And at the end of the day, that's more cool stuff out there. That's where I'm at right now. It's like every time someone releases a great figure, everything from sculpt to character selection to design to paint to articulation, like as new companies emerge, it just ups the game for everybody. Once people get a sense of and a taste of like what's possible, they call into question what else is out there. So these companies need to adjust. So I'm here for it. I want to check it out. But hey, let's go back to ninjas.
Holy
Go.
man.
Go. What you think? What you think? This is Spiro Toys, actually. Spiro Toys, before you get there, this is their new second toy line. So beyond Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, Jason, Dan, the whole creative team, we're heading into this new place to Japan's folklore.
Hop in a DeLorean. Let's hurry up and get into the future. Let's get this going, guys.
Savor the moment, man. Savor the moment. Enjoy the anticipation. But yeah, so you're really into this then. This is something that you're slightly interested in.
Yeah, man. This is gonna look so good with the Asura, with the 3 figures from N.E.W.S. Like,
yep.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I know China, Japanese, and all that, like, not mixed, but to me, in my world, if they look like they can go together, that's how it's gonna work. That's why I'm mixing A-Walk and Savage Crucible. Bad guys.
Yes.
The good guys. Yeah.
I mean, I'll get A-Walk to battle these guys and to battle whatever Skeletor. It's all good.
But this, man, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we're talking about like here, actually. So this is Dan, who's sort of like the visionary behind this entire world, this Bushido world. Of course, research from Japanese actual folklore, but history and folklore. But he's the sculptor on this, and he's been really like keeping this under his hat because, understandably, like a lot of creatives, like very much so, like has a vision and wants to make sure that he can get that right before he presents it to the world. So he pointed out here. So I was watching the Toy Migos this week. I don't know if you were there, and Jason from Spiro was there and revealed this. And then a couple hours later, Dan points this out, and he's like, so the Oni kind of got prematurely revealed earlier in the week. And I get it, because like, when we were at the table at Legion's Con, like we were excited and wanted to like talk about that big empty space that was in the middle of the display that would have been the Oni. So it's like, I get that there's these different desires, but that said, this is for Dan. Dan, listen to what like this guy's saying. People are excited where this stuff is. Not at all defending you, Jason. Shame on you, sir. But no, I think this thing is really cool and I'm having fun. But check out the size too. He was like really breaking down some of the details. 8.1 inches to the top of the horn, 7.8 inches to the head, which is something that I wish toy companies would do a little bit more, because like Rob and me, we mix stuff and we want to know what's stuff going to be like with each other.
Is that Samurai on the right also his?
Yes, this is Bushido. This is the Paintmaster that you saw at Legion's Con. Yeah. I don't think he didn't have the helmet, but this is going to be part of Wave 1. This guy, and the sort of Roronoa Zorro looking character. Small wave, 3 figures. Look for it early 2025 for pre-order, not a Kickstarter. Spiro's doing some really cool things and expanding. I will just say, like, well, what took you about this one, aside from the sort of theme that I know you're into, but like, what are some other things you're noticing on here that good, bad, whatever, that's capturing your attention? I'll start with
I don't think bad anything. It like hits on everything. Like the articulation's all there, double jointed elbows.
Yeah, good or bad. So articulation, you're happy with the articulation you're seeing?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, butterflies.
Butterflies, I know a lot of people don't like them. For me,
what's wrong with you,
dude? Double-handed holding swords it's got to be a thing, man. Like if a figure's not doing that, which a lot of old Mythic Legions don't do, it's like it's kind of a bummer. But I mean, you got to hold the sword with 2 hands, dude. So we don't have that butterfly joint to not be able to do that. It's kind of like a bummer.
But, what's up, KJ? My bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to not. Yeah, no, I love a good butterfly. That's what I love about AWOCs. I know that's the one thing I was really excited that you'd get those in hand. But that was my thing, is just like playing with that butterfly, seeing how broadly or how far back you can throw his arms and do all sorts of poses, and knowing that that's where Spiro's starting to kind of see where they're going to go with Bushido. I'm excited about knowing that, like, with that armored stuff, there's going to be some limitations, right? Which I get.
Yes.
Now you've got a big figure though. And so I'm really excited when we see people trying to make big figures move really, really well,
Mhm.
because there are definitely some unique things you got to pay attention to in terms of.
And I get that like certain armor is going to hinder the movement of
Yep.
how
Yep.
you use things, and it's funny that a lot of people don't understand that. Like
Yep.
when you try to explain them like realistically, like, hey, dude, go put on a knight's armor and try to touch your toes. It's not going to fucking happen, dude. But yeah, this thing just looks amazing, dude.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking at everything from like the chest hair details. I just think it's really cool because it looks like it's gonna be sculpted. Everything from this armor, I'm curious how that will translate in terms of like looking like rope, but it looks fantastic here. This tiger sort of pelt that he's got going on here. If I look at what Dan's talking about, he kind of broke it down. He's saying this is the Ogre Oni of the first wave. He'll hopefully have separately molded prayer beads with an elastic band to hold them. Soft goods tiger fur skirting, which was like, oh. And crimped metal rings on the shoulder armor. The wooden cork right here on this gourd will also be sort of functional. You can take it off, unplug it, put it in his hand, whatever. His kanabo actually splits apart at the wooden seam, and can be put together with the accessory plug to store on his back, like we're seeing here.
Nice.
He also has 4 pairs of hands to swap for posing. And yeah, he just didn't have the bandwidth to render them all. It reminds me of Doc Brown talking about his model and apologizing for it not being to scale. But I'm looking at like everything here, man. Like, you know, the ankles, and okay, that's cool to kind of break it down. I'm looking at all these little details, and just I've poured over this thing and just really appreciate everything that's going on with it. Highly Posable is saying, isn't that Oni the same as the Maestro Collective Seijin? So they have one as well, a big old Oni that I don't believe is part of, it's separate from their Furei Planet one. Is like this big red one, similar type character, right? They're both like, you know, these Japanese Oni demons, similar like with the armor and everything, but not the same.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. It's like if you were to say, like, you know, is that cowboy the same as this cowboy, if you will? But here it is, you know. But yeah, I definitely see the similarities. But this is the one that you're talking about. And again, it's a fertile space right now for figures. And if one of the biggest issues out there is that, oh man, we're getting a bunch of like big ogre Onis, like, oh, that's to me a great problem to have. And so anyway, cool.
It's nice to have options.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Okay.
Like.
Speaking of options, if you're in this ninja world, I hear that there's different options for this line called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that are out there. Man, everybody we know is making turtles. And so yet again, another entry. We just, like, everyone was high on the Medi Toys ones just last week or so, or a week and a half ago. Now it's like, oh, hey, here's Heat Boys, who has been doing like these transforming robot ones, all of a sudden going like, well, we want to do highly articulated, detailed, adult line style Ninja Turtles 2.
I have a buddy who's super into turtles, right? And I've asked him, what do you think of like all these turtles coming? He's like, dude, I cannot throw a dime up in the air without it landing on some toy line that has turtles left and right. Yep. It's like everybody's doing it, and he's like, it's hard to keep up. It's hard to figure out which ones are the good ones, but yeah, not to shit on people who collect turtles or the turtle line, but man, it feels like the toy line industry is being flooded with TMNT.
It is.
Like,
it doesn't seem like that's an objective reality.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, and they look cool. And for me, it's like I said before, like I'm just cherry picking what I get into. I don't know which TMNT figures to pick up because they all look so freaking badass, and yeah.
Yeah, and you like to, again, options. They each
There are
kind of seem
options.
to, yeah,
And
they
you know
each seem to
what's
be
shitty
doing
real
the
quick?
thing.
It's like nowadays, it's either you pre-order and then you kind of miss out on, like if you pre-order, you get it. But if you don't, then you miss out, and then you're having to pay like those crazy ass prices on the second market.
Yep.
So you kind of just want to wait around until somebody gets it and does a review and just tells you like you're good to go. If you can get it, get it. If you got it, good. But if you
This
don't,
is my, yeah. Sorry.
it's like this one. Let me show you this really quick. Okay,
What?
so I got this from 5K. The Bro Toys like samurai, female samurai.
Yeah. I've seen her.
And she was great in the pictures, but then I got her, and she's on my one of the biggest disappointment lists of 2024, which is a bummer, man. Because I really was having high hopes for it, but yeah, she just kind of back.
That's the thing. So, okay, let's go to because there was so much stuff. We know that we can't buy everything, right? And I don't know. This isn't great for toy producers, but at the end of the day, we don't need to jump at everything, right? And so, like you said, like maybe after playing with that figure, you're gonna cool off a little bit and take less of that risk of not doing the pre-order and wait till it shows up. And if it's good, then you might have an issue because you might have a hard time finding it and you'll pay for it. The other end of it is, do you want to be in the position of, I don't know what you paid for that, but like sometimes they're not very cheap. And then you're stuck with a figure that you're not super enthused by. So you wait for reviewers and then you get them from there. But I don't know. Like that's the thing. You can save yourself some money, and I don't know. I can't get all the things. I don't have any turtles, not a single 21st century turtle in my life. And that's okay. Like I love the turtles too. I love watching it though. And I love sort of seeing this arms race of turtles, because I think more and more as time goes on, they get more and more creative, like with this kind of stuff. And there might eventually be something where I'm like, oh man, I would love to have turtle representation on my shelf. But the other thing with these is I was sort of showing the sizes.
Yeah.
Like this RAF is 200 millimeters, which is 7.87 inches.
Come in. Sorry, dude, my daughter is about to pop
You're
in.
all good. Yeah. All of them are 200 millimeters. So, I'm going at 7.87. Someone was telling me the other day, I think it was Diggs Figs, saying that they were larger, but almost a little under 8 inches. So they're big turtles.
That's pretty 7.8. Wow, that's like bigger than like McFarlane figures.
Yeah. So I don't know who. Part of it also was like, who are they making these toys for in terms of like to work with? So, oh yeah, here you go. See, so anyway, I just think it's cool. I love the sculpts. Again, the existence of this is only going to make people wonder, like, oh man, they're able to do that with, sculpting and painting. What else can we get? But we talked a little bit about Savage Crucible already, so I'll keep this one quick. But because of Savage Crucible and the way sort of things are playing out with like the Kickstarter, it even says here, like, and big ups to them, at least it used to. Did they take it off? They used to have like a running thing at the top that said this many days since the Kickstarter launched, right?
Yeah, I think they took that down.
They took it down since yesterday, because I was putting this together yesterday. And these, okay, but it's been basically like 2 years. Am I right in that? Almost 2 years. Almost 2 years.
Yes, huh?
Yeah, it was. And so that's fine. Like, I know some people are like, get up in arms about it and all this kind of thing. At the end of the day, it was a Kickstarter. These are small companies who probably otherwise wouldn't have gone down this rabbit hole so quickly, right? And so you're kind of like an early investor, essentially. Whatever. I'm a patient boy. I wait. Sorry, Fugazi reference for those of you. Yes. But the best place, like, I go to savagecrucible.com. Right on the front, they'll tell you, like, you can look at their podcast and do all that, but they'll tell you sort of the important stuff. So the thing to note right now is they do have a warehouse sale. So there's in-stock stuff, and it ends on the 20th. They break down what you and I were talking about, that replacement feet and ankles for Wave 1 have finished production and are on the way to the warehouse. All this stuff is here. So I would say take a look at it, including their convention schedule. I applaud them for having this and figuring out just giving people that information.
Thanos, he sees the timer still.
Oh, okay. It might just be on my end with like I have a ridiculous amount of tabs open and my computer's probably mad at it. But then they dropped this not too long ago, and I've shown it here before, but it's kind of cool that they're also sort of thinking about ways that they can use existing parts that they've already had molded and everything and trying to create new things to offer. I thought this was kind of a cool
I saw somebody recently, and I think it was a Savage Crucible group, complaining about reuse. It's like, dude, did you just start collecting toys? Because wait till you see other toy lines. It's like something new.
I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but back in the 1900s, there were things like G.I. Joe and totally. It's how these companies do it, and maybe they are new to collecting, or maybe they want to see new things all the time, whatever. Right. But I think it's cool, and just don't buy it if you're not interested. But I think this was kind of a cool combination of stuff.
Don't buy it. Nobody's forcing you to buy it. Don't buy it. Just look at it, like it, move on. If you don't have to say anything about it.
Yeah, man, it's a trip. But we all collect different ways. Really quickly, to go back to highly posable, it's a good thing. All the different turtles. As a lifetime TMNT collector, I'm happy about it. This will make the competition harder, and we'll get the good stuff. Exactly, right?
It's cool seeing my friends that are into it, like, be really hyped for it. All this stuff, like, and I love seeing what they do with it once they get it. All the pictures that they post, it's awesome.
100%. And then what's going on? And Art is here. What's up, RG? Good to see you, man. RG was at Legions Con too, at his booth, selling all sorts of cool things. But back to Savage Crucible, this stuff is cool. I just, I haven't been able to talk much about them. A lot of it is because we got that first wave, and I'm just waiting for the next things. Like I said, I got 1, 2, and 3 locked in because of Kickstarter. Not all figures, but a good amount of figures. I'm just waiting for them, and I can't wait to see what comes next.
Because they are being transparent, and they are being open, and they're letting you know what's going on with the timeline of everything. It's not like they're not keeping everybody up to date or posted. So,
and again, man, it's just like we're used to Hasbro, Mattel, Jakks Pacific's running the show, and it's like these are new companies, people like it's really like artisanal, crafty kind of stuff, right? And so,
but for me, coming from collecting vinyl, like my other hobby, waiting this long is nothing new to me, because when I would order albums from bands or musicians that I like, same thing. It takes like a year or so before, like, hey, pre-order now. But it's not going to come out for a while. So
I mean, we're living in a world where I think people are struggling economically, so I get that. But also, like, we live in a world where you're into music, I'm into music. There was a time, like you said, you'd wait. Nowadays, like, music isn't a commodity. You just go online, you type in a thing, and you get whatever music you want. And so the MyRay right away at wherever now is, I understand why people have been conditioned. So but that's the sociology episode of the news. Let's get back to toys. Memory Toys, now called Medi Toys, showed this like a while back. How long ago was this? This was like, was it only 17 weeks ago? So,
but there's another company that's making something on a smaller, right?
Memory Toys is also doing smaller, sort of like shiny little dudes of this, the Murlocs from World of Warcraft. But this one I wanted to show because they recently just showed this, so in plastic form. And it's just, again, one of those things where you go from sort of like render to this. And I love process shots, but I also love to see the kind of things that they figured out along the way and texture stuff. So like I'm looking at the texture going on that plastic. I love the eye. The eye looks like it might be separate, maybe on a ball, because there is a little bit of that shading under there, an undercut.
If you could move it around,
I mean, that looks real tight. I wonder how they even fit that in there, but maybe not, or maybe it goes on the underside, probably on the underside. But I was excited to see this. this is one of those strange cases where I saw this and I was like, oh yeah, I don't think I really necessarily need them. I'm not a Warcraft guy, and I'm like, but I'm always interested in figures for science and cool looking creatures. And then I saw this, and I was totally getting like Rankin Bass, Smeagol Gollum, like little frog-like dude. And note that there is toe articulation on that, but again, it's gigantic 3 toes that I think this one will work out really well, and you can probably get some cool poses on that thing. That, like, I don't know. I will say that Medi Toys is one of those where I just watch everything that they do, because they've been producing some really great stuff. Like, you know, starting with the Memory Toys bear that I got way back when, and then now to all of their like orcs and other World of Warcraft unlicensed stuff.
I haven't picked up any Memory Toy stuff, and I think mainly because I know it's going to be one of those AWOC things, because I'm scared if I pick up one, it's going to be a domino effect. So, but at the same time, I'm just waiting for that one figure. I'm like, okay, that's the one I want. And
it's funny too. Sorry, I totally cut you off. My bad. But I was wondering, I was reminded earlier about you're talking about that head sculpt, and you heard that it was taken from somebody else's work to be 100% real, and it's totally this. Either you can call it a gray area, or you can call it straight up illegal. Like, these are all Warcraft things that are unlicensed. I don't know if that impacts you much at all. Like, but between this and say even the Ramen Toys, this stuff.
No, I was like, a big I used to play World of Warcraft all the time. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, I still haven't seen anything. I'm just like, okay, pre-order this. But this, when I saw this Braystar,
yeah, I know you got the Marshall, right?
Yes, and that was pure out of nostalgia. And another reason was because I wanted the original one from the 80s for Christmas, and I never got it. My mom got me the villain, whatever his name was. And
what is his name? Anyways, keep going. I'll look it up.
There were straight up mommy issues because of that.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think about that every now. It's like, I never got that fucking Braystar, and yeah, dude, it just, oh man. But and then, like, when I was getting older and I would see him, and then eBay came around, you know, you could buy him now, but it's pretty expensive. But
yeah, and he's a bigger figure too.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it is not as cool as this one with the articulation and everything.
Yeah.
But this was like a no-brainer. When I saw this pop up, I was like, dude, I gotta have this.
So you're gonna get some 3-0, not 30-30 in your life.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, man. I'm also really intrigued. I ran into a little bit of a hiccup with my Marshall where there were some QC issues, and they totally took care of it like right away. I just got them got the leg replacement leg.
Same thing with his leg, like it have an issue with his left leg or something. But
oh yeah, was Terrence saying that?
Not here, but he's talked about that. Like, I don't know if it just pops off or like it doesn't. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I know he had an issue with his. But mine seemed pretty. It was all right. Like,
well, I haven't put up the video or anything yet, but so this is the first time I'll take the opportunity. Mine had an issue with the leg, so it's hard to see, but I don't find an angle. But basically, there's this disconnects would fall off. The leg would fall off. So they sent me a whole other leg. That was the first piece. It was like not even connected in the box, but they took care of it. I could tell there was like a little chunk of plastic. There's some warping. So on the one that I had, it works fine. And then the other piece was this. I discovered this after. Check this out. Some just like paint stuff. You know, stuff happens. It's supposed to be the back of the
yeah, I'm looking at mine.
It's supposed to be back here on the back of the legs. So this is the back of it. And I'm sure I could identify no, they wear gloves. I was gonna say by fingerprints, but
the hat,
whatever.
The hat didn't stay on all too well. And then these little, like, the holsters, right here, they don't stand too well either when you pop them in, right? They kind of just pop off pretty easy. So I tried just not to keep them on there.
I really like it. I love the head sculpt. Man, I really think that they kind of went a direction with trying to capture this character.
Yeah.
I really love the way he looks, and otherwise, I love the construction of sort of like using the overlays. I think it's actually a really great figure. It had some. It's one of those things where there are some issues. I know for a fact that I'm maybe a little bit more tolerant. Thank you, Nolan Tex Hex, of than other folks.
Mhm.
So I get it. So then maybe you don't spend your money and support these folks. But they Ace and the team totally took care of me, and they got that out to me. So more importantly, I want to go back. So getting these figures is going to heal your childhood mommy issues? Has it been therapeutic for you?
It has.
Good.
Yeah, I moved past it now. With
good.
Just like not looking back. But I bring it up anytime anybody talks about this. I'm just like, yes, when I was a kid. But yeah.
But I'm liking their 3-0. I think he looks really cool. I hope that there was a little bit, maybe more detail in here. That's the one thing I'll say is that the level of detail on this guy's face,
to that
like,
one.
Yeah, straight up like art direction thing. Like I would love to see them match a little bit more. But we'll see where they end up in the final. So, man, we're approaching. It's an hour 45. I know you've got to get going soon. So let me see what. There's this. I'll just say Ramen Toys thing. All I wanted to say about this is like that's brilliant and rad, and I'm glad that it exists. I love it when a plan comes together. So go A team. They were showing this off at a show.
We wanted to get a van like that and paint it up just like that and roll up to our gigs in an A team van.
Yeah,
that would have been funny. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Ours was a white Econoline, but anyway, that one was hogging some memory because of video. You mentioned Gridiron. Not going to spend a ton of time just because I know there's time, but I will say, man, folks, like if you're not paying attention to what Gridiron's doing, I think there's something that's happening there that could potentially be replicated by a bunch of other people to make some really cool things possible in our toy collecting little hobby and community. So this was the G.I. Joe classified Trouble Bubble, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cool little vehicle. It was $55 with a figure, and they did another version of it and everything. These things were out there. So Gridiron's been doing weapons and all these other things, as you know. So they start like looking at what Classified's doing and start sort of deconstructing what's going on there and trying to figure out how can we create kits. Yeah, create kits for collectors to like do something more if they choose. Popping and swapping parts, if you will. So this is like you can buy the legs, and then again, this is not a cheap enterprise. It's about as much as you were going to pay for the figure and the thing originally. But check out the concept and where other people could take this potentially, or Gridiron themselves, and just really thinking about like what could be done with these existing toys, right? And here's more parts, different pieces. Is this something you've been at all following and looking at?
Once I stopped collecting classifieds, I follow Mark, but I don't do anything. Dude, I bug him all the time that he should start up with making Mythic Legion weapons again, because for a while he was making those high fantasy weapons, but he just kind of focuses on the more army side of stuff, and which more power to him, because he does a really good job doing it, man.
Exactly.
Like, awesome. And when I was collecting classifieds, I used to buy quite a lot of Gridiron Studio stuff, and that's good stuff. And for people that don't know, he actually did a lot of the weapons for that new what is that line?
Monster Force?
Yes. So
no, he's doing that, and he's getting a figure, a tribute figure of himself in there as this sort of like Destro type arms dealer character, which is perfect. But I just love this concept, right? Take existing toys, figure out what you could sort of add to them, and give collectors options. Play with your toys differently. I'm a Lego person and an action figure person. To me, this totally hits that sweet zone of like, ooh, I can customize and play with my stuff in a way that is a little bit easier than actually painting stuff. I can buy the parts and just build the thing. I also love as a Joe person how this slightly resembles some old Joe toys that we had back in the day, if you're familiar with that. But anyway,
the previous picture, the Trouble Bubble one with the other add-ons, it reminds me of that one big RoboCop enemy guy. Do you remember?
Yeah, the Ed 209.
Yeah.
Some good stuff. He just hits on those like sweet notes, right? And so that stuff that reminds you of the old stuff, but maybe gets you excited about what's new, right? And then here's stuff that they did for his tank.
Yeah.
And then stuff that they end up developing as sort of like separate drones. But now you can like mix and match even the parts that they've been putting out to create all sorts of new things. I just think that's really cool, man. I think effectively they're building off an existing line, but they're also like creating new stuff then as well, right, with this. So, and of course you can see from the pictures, they work well with Monster Force and other things. So I just think it's smart stuff. I think it's creative, and I'm an appreciator of that kind of stuff. If you are too and are curious, check out Gridiron's site here. The links again will be there, and this is all the stuff that's like connected to that whole system. You can see there's all sorts of different, just cool stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, where are we at now? Let's look at some quick customs. This is guy Jeremy Gerard. I'm not sure if you're familiar with. See it all full circle, man.
Yeah.
So he's a customizer. It's really cool stuff. He used to run a site called So these are his stuff, and he shared this the other day on Krampusnacht. He's been sitting on this Krampus version, but man, Apherius was one of my favorite figures for a long time. He was my favorite the year he came out, like favorite figure, because it was just a cool, unique form factor, centaur. But I love what he did to make this sort of Krampus character. I just wanted to share that a little bit. Are you still following his customs regularly?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love his work, man. Really well done. And I mean, Jesus, to have 4 Horsemen Studios at like your disposal for stuff that you need to make systems, that'd be awesome. But yeah, dude, he just always puts out stuff. I'm just like, man, come on, just sell it to me, dude. Just let me have it. We were just talking yesterday. He has a Fox Samurai that he did a couple years ago that I asked he would sell to me, but he said that it's his only one. He's not looking to part with it, but he offered to make me one. And but I told him, like, you know what, dude, like let's hold off because it's the holidays. I don't want to take your time from your family or do anything like that. So maybe after the New Year's, we're going to revisit that and see what happens. But yeah, he did a really cool Samurai Fox. So I'm just like, man, I need one of those.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I think he does great stuff. But you know what? I'm remembering, and we've gone a while now. You offered to give away a book. Let's go ahead and do that with the folks who are here who might have been waiting. Let's do that. Let's do the hashtag that I'll be putting together right now. Let's see. I don't do this enough, but there it is right there. It's the Comic Compendium, Court of the Dead. And because of that, let's go ahead and use the hashtag Court of the Dead. Hashtag Court of the Dead. Get that ready, and we'll sort of take maybe another... Ooh, we're getting up there. I didn't realize.
Don't worry about it, dude. Yeah, like I'm literally about 5 minutes down the street from where I go. So
good. We'll be wrapping up. That's pretty much towards the end. There was some some other stuff, but I think we're good. So we'll do this giveaway. I'm going to continue talking a little bit about Jeremy's stuff. So hashtag Court of the Dead to enter yourself into the drawing. But let's take a quick look at some of the other things that he's doing. To your point,
Jesus, man.
To your point earlier, you said to be Jeremy Gerard and have access to everything that 4 Horsemen have.
Well, I think the scope that he's using on that. Mm-hmm. So even though the FO wasn't already amazing by itself, this is what like sold me. And I'm just like, all right, dude, I got to get this figure now, dude, because what you can come up with just on that bare body alone with that head sculpt, it's like endless. And he actually validated that with this fucking post, dude. This thing looks amazing.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You're saying like, hey, yeah, wouldn't it be great to be in his position and have access to all the parts? But because he's also the marketing director, right? Director of marketing, he knew Figure Obscura was coming. And so it's like, it's smart to just marketing to do exactly what he did here and to get people like yourself to say what you did. Oh man, I was sold after I saw this. And you're not the only one. I've had other people tell me a similar thing when they sort of see these customs, because what it does is it reminds you that yes, you can buy the figure as is because it's awesome, but you can also look at that figure as a blank canvas and think about what other cool things you can do, which is the beauty of Legions, right? The pop and swap. And so he does a great job of really doing that. Like even from the Krampus thing, it's like they've got a couple centaurs coming soon, right? Apherius, I think, is still available as sort of an in-stock item. So, and I'm assuming some of this stuff, like the pieces here are also from, was it Tharnog? Was that his name?
Yeah.
I think, but there's like pieces in here that are like, oh, from figures that are relatively available right now. So
Jeremy's pretty good at like, he looks at something, and I mean, if you go back to the one that that new one that he did, he pulls from other toy lines. Like he
does that too. Yep.
Yeah, he has this great eye for like fodder pieces. I don't know, man. Like he just like I would, and sometimes he'll post the recipe like this is from this and this is from this. It's like,
dude, these horns, for example, he does say that they're from like a Warcraft figure, an old Warcraft figure.
Yeah.
So
he was on the Purple Gang recently, and I was talking to him about his website that he has, where he has one page just dedicated to all the customs that he's made throughout the years. He says he hasn't updated in like 3 years or something, but it's just like the custom that he makes and the recipe that you need for it and where you can get it. It's like such a great page, man, for customizers. Yeah, he needs to. Obviously he's too busy to keep up with that, but
sure, yeah.
That's, I mean, for customizers and people who follow customizers, that's such a great idea to have a web page or whatever. Like if you're doing it yourself, you know.
Yes. And the other thing is that again, what does that end up doing? You're right that he's busy. The other end, his job is to help sell Mythic Legions toys. And that's all that would do anyways, right? Is like, oh, you need this other Legions figure to make this thing. So now you can buy it now at blah, blah, blah. So, and then just another one that he shared more recently that was, I'm embarrassed and sad to say that during Legions Con, I didn't get to walk down and see his booth with this whole mythic sort of Japan kind of display. How are you? And I was going to say, yeah, you had a good time at that display?
Sticking my head in like the Dio, because he did a really well job with that, man. And it's funny because I saw his table, and then he had not like the Dio area next to his table, but I didn't know he was selling a lot of his old custom. And it wasn't until long after the con that people were posting, I got this, and I was just like, man, he was selling those. Like, I didn't even bother to ask, and I'm kind of bummed because I probably would have picked up something. But I thought he was displaying his stuff. I didn't know he was selling stuff. It sucks.
So did you're well, you know, whatever. There's other opportunities. But I love the armor on this thing. It's just really wild, and the actual use of like threading and everything. So
I'm waiting for Mythic Legions to start doing the very samurai heavy like factions or something, because he's really obviously into that. So I'm hoping they will do it at some point, dude.
I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, given, you know, we got like that oh god, I'm forgetting his name, but the Sun Wukong parts that then got used in that sort of green demon guy, and so I feel like And then we now just discovered multiple continents, right? And one of those continents now has sort of a Mexica vibe. Who knows what's going on in those other continents? And that Araya seems to have a little bit more of an Asian influence. And we got like, who was it? I don't know if it was Gaspar or the other dude who had like the sort of like monk, either Indian monk or Shaolin monk. You know, folks, don't know that the Shaolin Kung Fu thing came from an Indian monk dude. So
we got the Vikings, and then we got the way that just aligns with Philia with the whole Aztec looking thing. So
I think we're going there, man. I think you're going to be fed pretty soon, but don't stop on your blue-eyed samurai thing. Keep building. Let's give away this Court of the Dead. Anybody else? Last takers. We've got 11 folks here, and we've got more than that in the show. So a couple more seconds in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, keep going. And then we'll go ahead and close out from here. There's one thing I do want to let people know before we close. You know what? While we're waiting for, if there's any, while we're waiting for folks, let me do this. I mentioned to you, I know you started getting into AWOC. It's a relatively new thing for you. You and I were talking at Legion's Con at around the AWOC table, and you recently took advantage of that Black Friday sale. Right before this morning, Jason was, we're just kind of talking through stuff, and he's saying, hey, you know what? Based on how well that Black Friday sale went, and knowing that it's a normal thing for toy companies in the new year to try and clear out space, because there's going to be a lot of figures coming in. There's going to be the Void Wave, and then there's going to be stuff from the Kickstarter that's going to start rolling in. So they're going to do a New Year sale anyway. He's thinking about like, hey, maybe we do something a little bit earlier. So this Wednesday, I believe there will be in their sort of regular Wednesday newsletter that I helped put together, you'll see an announcement. But based on the conversation last time, what happened with Dorclair, it's like, man, you got to let people know what kind of deals you're going to have, because there's some really crazy deals. And so it's not going to be exactly the same as Black Friday, because if you took advantage of that, good on you. Rob, did you take advantage of that?
I absolutely did.
It's not going to be quite in the same way, but what will happen is a lot of these sort of standard figures, they'll go on sale. They'll be cheaper than what is here at $34.99. I'll share that. So all of them will be on sale to a certain amount. But the bigger deal, I think, is in your wave 1, wave 2, what I like to call the sort of core characters, your Pale, your protagonists here, your Kali. They're sort of troop builders, right? The Chinari Legionary and the Ravager. And then some of the House Fearless felines. All 6 of these characters are going to come down sub $30. I'll just say that. Close to maybe 20 something. I'll just say that. So look for it this Wednesday. These characters will go that low. There are some other things that are going to be really low. I don't know why it's been saying sold out, because that's not true. But also even better deals, I will say this, than the Black Friday on the armor sets and the headsets. I don't even think the armor sets were available.
They were, and they were pretty freaking cool, because if you get just those bare body figures and you get those armor, you got a whole new figure right there. That's just, I was glad I got those armor sets, because
they fit well on some Masterverse. They fit well on Odious. They fit well on a lot of your figures. Just heads up.
And the weapons pack. You get a weapons pack too. And offer you PayPal pay in 4, just so if people don't want to front, because I did that, which is cool.
Shilling like some toy villains for sure, but just to throw that out there, Wednesday starting this, there'll be a sort of an early holiday, early New Year sale. So if you want to get into Bureau stuff, I think now's a good time to do it, man. See, awesome.
I like it.
Unfortunately, he will not be part of the extra special deal, but but the headsets you're about to say?
Yeah, I got the headset, and I'm like, dude, Yeah, it fits perfect on it.
Yeah, the headset is from this set right here. Yeah,
Yes,
man.
cool.
If you're a customizer too, man, you can do all sorts of cool stuff. I love putting those heads. It takes a little work. You either have to do some dremeling or do like I did and go to Headhunter Customs. I actually had Headhunter Customs design a peg that fits Super 7, and they work well with some tack. Oops, for my AWOCs. So anyway, folks know I'm a shill when it comes to Spiro, and more so than ever before. So full disclosure, I help them out. I haven't taken a dime, if folks were wondering, per se, but I have more recently gotten free figures, and I help them out at shows, and it's because I love this stuff. At the end of the day, it is that. I wouldn't do it for other folks. Court of the Dead, Rob loves. He swears by the comic book. He wants you to know about it. His buddy at Sideshow Collectibles has made this possible, and he's generous enough to pass on that. So let's go ahead and do it. Here we go, folks. Court of the Dead. Oh, look at all these wonderful. I love just seeing all these wonderful people in here. And thank you all for watching. Appreciate you all. And yay! I'm assuming you're good to ship to Canada.
Yeah, just let me know.
I will help with the shipping, of course. So awesome, man. Congratulations, Ray. Congratulations, Nolan, by proxy, because you'll be able to look over her shoulder and look at her cool new stuff. Yeah, that's a thing. So right on, man. Court of the Dead. There you go.
Yeah, right on, man.
All right. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Let me just make sure. Is there anything else timely that I needed to let folks know about? No, it's just some other stuff, but I really would appreciate it if you haven't already done so. Just go over to else_spooky_Zorro and follow this guy, because he's got some really cool toys. He's going to be posting some AWOC, I know, soon, and some bunch of other stuff, and he knows a lot. So hit him up. Maybe he can hook you up with McGee's. Just kidding. He wouldn't do that.
I wish, yeah. I'm really slow for posting stuff up, but I'm always promoting people with their stuff, and let's talk toys and music if you guys like it. So
yes, and even better, hang out with him on looks like Legion's Lounge, Dorkler. You'll see him in the chats. You see all of us, and we're just chatting, talking toys. So, because that's what ultimately this is all about, man. It's all about like the community, folks getting together, and like, not in like a kumbaya thing necessarily. It can be that, but like, man, it's just that much more fun to know that there are other people who are into this stuff, which is why I do this show, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate you being here, and I'm sorry that
I appreciate
you work for other people.
Yeah, my shitty work schedule at the moment, but it is what it is, and I'm glad I was able to come on, man, because I really like your show, and I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's something I've been doing. I've been having a blast doing it. What's up, Greg? Good to see him in the chat. This is an earlier show, so normally it is 3:45 on a Sunday Pacific time. So check that out. But now I have the pleasure of being able to go before Adam Highly Articulated, and he's always good about telling folks, "Hey, go check out Brickstream." I can now say, "Hey, go check out Adam Highly Articulated stream." It's at Highly Articulated. At 2:05 is when he goes live. He does a great job at also talking toys. Very different in terms of the stuff that he focuses on. Like, man, you could hang out on a Sunday and see all sorts of cool stuff, right? And we were all like Dork Lair earlier. We got to hear Curtis talk about his awesome thing. Like, check that stuff out.
Yeah,
it's a great time to be a toy collector. So next week I will have Cullen on the show, which is awesome. While I was waiting for Rob, I was in the wrong studio and like by myself and didn't realize I was in the Cullen one. So next week, not today, Brick, be there, hang out with us on Sunday. Anything else that you want to let folks know about that they should check out? You got going on?
No, I think everybody follows everybody that I watch, but I'll see you guys in the chat. And once again, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, you're great. I love it, man. We look at toys in a fun, similar way. All right, folks, that's it. Have a great Sunday. This is where I try and be professional. So here's the weird like. So it's all about that beat drop. Goodbye, folks. And then you wait. Oh yeah, look at that. We do 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 all of the things. Yeah. Live long, prosper, all the things, folks. Have a great week. El Spooky Zorro. Adios. Por vida. Here we go. And I'm clicking on stream. Let's see how awkwardly